Well, there's only one man in this building who can say he competed against Gorgeous George not once, not twice, but 3 times in his career. Please welcome the Destroyer, Dick Beyer.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I'm extremely humble for having been invited by WWE to present Gorgeous George with the WWE Hall of Fame. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, and in high school, I was a big fan of pro wrestling. I went to the Memorial Auditorium. I went in college. I went in Syracuse, and I watched Gorgeous George when he was big and making money. And he brought entertainment into pro wrestling. He had his own barbers, he had his valet, and he went into the ring and he threw these Barbie pins. You know what? I wish I had about 2,000 of those Barbie pins. I'll put them on eBay. I think we can make some money. In 1954, I broke into pro wrestling. In 1958, I was in the South. In Birmingham, Alabama, it was the first time I wrestled against Gorgeous George. And I found out that at that time, that he not only brought in entertainment, he also could wrestle. Pushed the clock forward a few years, and in 1962, I go into Los Angeles, and the promoter there wanted to put a mask on me, and I told him, "You gotta be crazy." 16 months later, he tried to take it off, and I said, "Not tonight." Anyway, during that particular stretch, I got a phone call from Gorgeous George. Gorgeous George was, or had, a bar on Sepulveda Avenue out in the valley, and he wanted to talk to me. So I made an arrangements to leave early on Thursday to go to Bakersfield, because Bakersfield, Sepulveda ran right up through the valley, and I could get to Bakersfield after talking with Gorgeous George. So I go in his bar, and believe me, it was the best looking sports bar that you would see today. He had 2 life-size mannequins, this big, which were the entrance to getting into the bar. In the bar, he had, I don't know, 200, 300, 400, 500 pictures of entertainers from the ceiling to the floor, all the way down around the bar. But there wasn't anybody in the bar. I said, "George, where's everybody?" This was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He says, "You got to get here at 5, things pick up good. I says, what do you need to see me for? He says, I need a payday. I says, a payday? He says, yeah. I says, what's your idea? He says, I want you to go to Jules Strongbow. Jules Strongbow was the promoter in Los Angeles. I want you to go to Jules and see if we can have a match, your mask against my hair. And I says, I'm not about to lose my mask. He says, don't worry. He says, 2 weeks prior to the match, I'll bring the 2 barbers that he's had out in Los Angeles, Frank and Joseph, and we'll promote it that way. I'll bring the valet along, and I even got some Barbie pins that we can throw. So I went and I talked to Jules, and Jules says, okay, we'll go with it, but we're going to go with it on our regular Wednesday night television show. To make a long story real short, we had the match, and I won the match with a figure 4 leg lock, which was my favorite hold. And when they were cutting his hair, I felt a little bad because I had almost ruined the image that had brought entertainment to pro wrestling. I know that Gorgeous George's first wife is here. And I want to just say that I want to do a couple of things besides awarding her the WWE Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. I have here, she asked me, could I have a mask? And I says, well, I got his hair. I'll give you his mask. And you can see that it is lavender. He was the, I blew it. Anyway, he was the living orchid or the bouncing orchid, but it's orchid, and I'm going to leave this here because I know Betty's going to come out here. And Betty, I want to say this. I want to, and I'm very proud to have been able to induct you into the WWE Hall of Fame.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, accepting on behalf of her late husband, the former wife of Gorgeous George, please welcome Betty Wagner. Let's hear it, everybody, for 97-year-old Betty Wagner.
Betty, it's showtime, and you are an instant hit. What would you like everyone most to know about Gorgeous George?
He's gorgeous.
One thing you know that Betty would love to say on behalf of Gorgeous George and her family is thank you. Thank you for the honor of inducting him into the WWE Hall of Fame. Her prince and an entertainment icon and pioneer is tonight our Hall of Famer. Anything else? Would you like to tell the story of how Gorgeous George got his name?
Oh, he got his name I made him his robes. I made all of his robes. My mother and I went to ringside with him, and he showed the robe to my mother, and she says, "Oh, you're Gorgeous George." I said, "Mother, that's it. He's Gorgeous George." So we made it legal.
Anything else you'd like to tell everyone about Gorgeous George, about how you made his robes?
How I made his robes? You mean the ones where my little kids used to run through the hallway? I had to lay the material out, put a robe down, cut it out. My little kids, 2 little kids, would run up and down while I cut them out. And they helped me make them.
You were his co-conspirator, his partner, right?
Let me get what?
You were his co-conspirator, his partner.
Yeah.
You guys were a team.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like everyone to know about Gorgeous George?
What about George? Nothing. I don't want to tell them everything, but Gorgeous
Okay.
George.
Thank you again.
There you go.
She says she thinks she better go. Thank you.